right. Good evening, everyone. It's Friday once again, and I've got Brother Jeff in here with us, and we have our special guest tonight. We have Ted Conrad from Fire Lab. Ted, uh, welcome to the Man Cave. I'm glad you could join us. If you could take a moment, I'm going to pour myself a drink, and I'm going to have you introduce yourself. Tell everybody who you are and what you do.
Absolutely. Okay, first of all, I just want to double check you guys. Everybody hear me okay? Loud and
Yes,
clear?
we
Okay,
got
great.
you
Yep.
now.
That's cool. I've got my special noise canceling earphones on here. So we're, I'm actually joining you here from Kansas City in our headquarters. I, we've worked a full day here at FireBoard, kind of over here, kind of back behind me. You can't see a whole lot. I guess I can tweak my camera, but you can see there's actually a lot of fireboard assembly going on usually during the day. And I ran out here a little bit after work and ran a few errands, but I'm joining you guys back here from Fireboard HQ. But no, we're based in Kansas City. We love Kansas City. We love the barbecue atmosphere, if you will, here in Kansas City. But we're really, Fireboard is really a technology company. We kind of stumbled upon a product that everybody seems to love in the barbecue industry. But it's great for cooking. It's great for food in general, and it's obviously great for barbecue. And so we love being able to build this product here, and we actually do most of the assembly, most of the manufacturing here in Kansas City. So it's kind of a cool story to tell. I'm happy to dig into more of that with you guys throughout the program if you want.
Awesome. Well, I'm a big fan of your product. I was an early adopter of the first Fireboard, which I still have. Uh, when I saw this thing come out with six probes and all the bells and whistles that it had, I bought mine very early. This was before my affiliation with Atlanta Grill Company. I actually bought that piece from All Things Barbecue, which is out in your neighborhood somewhere. And I've I was an early adopter also of the version 2 and then the version 2 Pro, which I that's my go-to now. I'm a big fan, and the most recently the Spark. I've shown the Spark multiple times here on this live stream, and I did a video review of it for Atlanta Grill Company as well. I'm really impressed with that. But one of the things I wanted to start out with is I wanted to ask you what your background is. What made you want to be in this product business?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Um, the simple answer is I've been kind of in the technology world one way or another for about 14 years, 14 years prior to starting Fireboard, but kind of a roundabout way. So my background was really in the finance world. So worked in the investment world, managing fixed income portfolios and did different hedge fund related things. And we kind of got into electronic trading, right? Everybody's heard of high frequency trading and probably electronic trading. We kind of got into building systems and trying to build systems that were very low latency, high efficiency, those types of things. And so I spent, I guess, a decent amount of time in software, but a little bit with servers, and a little bit with building software, and a little bit with building front ends. And so I really found that was my passion, right? Was building technology.
Hmm.
And so that's what I did for more or less about 14 years. And then one of my neighbors actually came across an opportunity to buy a smoker, and he introduced me kind of to the world of cooking and barbecue. And that was sort of my first introduction, if you will, into barbecue. And that was really fascinating. I love cooking. I love barbecue, like most people in Kansas City, and we're kind of, I guess we're kind of particular about barbecue here, but we had actually been exposed to American Royal several years prior. So I think there was a natural interest kind of in what was going on with this crazy world of smoking and low and slow and like this it's really kind of cool culture that there was. And then I basically stumbled on this, and I think we basically said, hey, why is there not any really elegant, simple, nice product to use that will monitor my cook? And that was back in 2014. And so basically, by the time, so I started the company in 2015, by the time we hit basically July of 2015, we had a public device out there in the field working. We had a mobile app that was out there working. We had all the cloud backend software that was up and going. And people were actually using FireBoard. This is mid, July 2015, to actually monitor their cooks. And it was basically an actual real world experiment of like, this is everything that we've built and we wanted to build with FireBoard. And we launched a product, actual FireBoard, that you, I think, bought, John, maybe back, I'm not sure when it was, 2017 or 18. So we launched FireBoard officially, selling to the public in 2016, after doing the kind of the full public rollout of the beta version earlier. And from then it was interesting. Like, people really started spreading that kind of via word of mouth. I think people really enjoyed using it. And I think the simple aspect of pairing it to your account, the Bluetooth, the Wi-Fi, and all that stuff, it worked really well. So we've had really good feedback from customers. And I think it's a testament to, if you can build really complicated technology, but you can make it as simple for the user. And our users are incredibly smart, right? We have people emailing us every day that are in like, network infrastructure technology, all these people like software developers, all these people that like engineers, they're emailing us. They love using it because it's simple. They don't have to screw around with all these settings, right? They do that every day. They don't want to do that when they're cooking. So anyway, we've tried to make it really simple, and hopefully we'll continue to do that as we go.
Well, I agree. That's amazing, and I'm actually even more amazed that you weren't already into the barbecue community before you started this. I figured you might have been a home backyard barbecue guy that was also a programmer or an engineer that saw that there was a need for a better way to do this.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really start cooking until 2014, and it was, I still to this day, I will claim I'm not a barbecue expert by any means. I'll leave that to you guys that are the experts. But I enjoy doing it, and I think, I can put a brisket on, and I think I'm at the point now where especially with monitoring your temperature, right? I think I can get it to the point where it's actually pretty good. People seem to like what I cook, despite my lack of experience. And I think, honestly, it's a testament to the science of cooking, right? The science of cooking.
Oh yeah.
First and foremost, it's cooking to temperature. And I think that's the first thing I learned was, hey, if you can hit your target temperature, that's going to get you really close. There's some other details around how you're cooking and maybe how you prepare it and maybe your rub and all that stuff. But cooking to temperature is really key.
Oh, I agree 100%. I'm a technology geek, I guess you could say. I like to be on top of what's out there, especially in this market space. Back when I first got into smoking with my first smoker, which was a Weber Smoky Mountain, uh, I bought a temperature control system that predated FireBoard. It was a Barbecue Guru. I started out with one of theirs, and when I when I put that thing on the smoker and realized I could turn my charcoal smoker there into a set and forget system, I was really impressed. And I've bought a lot of different uh, control systems since then. I started out with that. I bought a second model that they make that was more of a standalone model. They called it a party queue, and they've since discontinued that. I bought, uh, I can't remember if I think I bought one of the early model Flame Bosses before I actually got my first FireBoard. But when I got the FireBoard, at the first FireBoard I got wasn't a control system. It was just a monitoring system. It was the FireBoard 1. They didn't have, I think the drive, I can't remember if the drive option, it came out short. Did the drive option come out shortly after the initial release of the first FireBoard?
Yeah, we did the drive. We sold what's called a drive cable,
Mm-hmm.
and a drive cable plugs into an auxiliary port
Right,
on the FireBoard. And in fact, every single FireBoard that we've sold has an auxiliary port.
right,
And we have the drive cable is viewed as an accessory, so you can buy that and add it onto it. We have other accessories that have been in the works and are still in the works,
right.
and those accessories, I think we'll see more of those here this year. Uh, we launched a drive cable, I think about a year or a year and a half after we launched the original FireBoard.
Right. Well, the thing, when I got the FireBoard, when I hooked it up the first time, there's a couple of things right out of the box that impressed me beyond my expectations of the device and compared to anything else I had previously used. You guys have done an amazing job with the user experience or the user interface on this device. The software, the app, I can sit down at my phone. I can use my phone, my tablet, or I can sit down at my PC and have, full viewability and control of everything that's going on with my Fireboard. And the software is more robust than any of the others that I've ever used. I particularly love the functionality where I can take a photo of what's going on and add that as a note to my cook. And when I'm done, I've got a photo log of everything that I did at timed intervals. I can associate a photo with a given channel on the Fireboard. It's just the software developers on your side have done an amazing job with this. I don't know who you've got doing that or who they're teaming with to figure these things out, but everything, uh, like I said, is amazing. The user interface is top notch. Jeff is using Fireboard also.
Yep.
Jeff, is there anything do you see the Fireboard software or user interface coming up short anywhere in your opinion?
No, absolutely
No.
not. That thing is, you guys did the KISS principle on that. You kept it simple, right out of the box. It was easy to get, hooked up into my mesh Wi-Fi. Like I said, I'm an IT person. The thing works flawlessly. I like the ability to be able to share my cooks so that I can go out there and have other
Yeah.
people watch what I'm doing, which helps them learn. I mean,
Well, you and
you
I both
are
do that.
above, head and shoulders above everybody else out there. Head and shoulders.
I'll post a cook on one of the Facebook groups, and what I do is just post my Fireboard link, and that
Mhm.
link is, I mean, the content of that link's constantly updating, so somebody can go back to it and see what's happened since the last time they looked at it. It's really off the hook, Jet. I mean, Ted. Do you have a staff of programmers that that are involved in that development?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you guys. We strive to make something that's good. We strive to make something that's simple. I think we strive to really make the user experience as elegant and easy to use as we can. So I appreciate you saying that. That's, we're humbled by all the comments. And in fact, honestly, from the very beginning, we've had tremendous support from our customers, so we appreciate that. In terms of technology, like the software development, we do have a team here, but we're a small company. We're here in Kansas City. We started this company. Literally, I started this company with one of my college friends, Stephen Bergman, and he's still here today. In fact, he's head of all the mobile side of development, and we have a pretty lean and mean crew. But I will say there's advantages to being small from the standpoint of, if we want the device to do something and the device to send a message to the mobile app and the mobile app to send a message to the web front end. John, you mentioned being able to monitor from the web front end.
Right.
If we want all those things to work cohesively together, one advantage to being small is that we all can talk together. We can make those things work relatively easily. If we had, 10 software developers working in India, doing things for us, no offense to people that are doing work in India by any means, but that possibly might take a little bit longer to get those things done. Now there's an argument on the other side, which is, okay, if we really wanted to build something that had an incredible amount of complexity and a whole lot of back-end complexity to make that stuff work, we need more people to make that work, right? So we're trying to find, and as we grow, we're trying to strike that balance between being small and nimble, but also making sure we're doing things the right way. And as we grow and grow and grow, that inevitably leads towards more people. And there's more complexity, right? As you add more features, there's more complexity. So we're trying to strike that balance as we grow.
Well, that's amazing. And all I can say once again is whoever you've got leading that software development group, they're on point. There's very little I can see that, or I sat down this afternoon and said, what kind of things do I need to ask Ted about that are possible areas for improvement on the FireBoard? And I've got a couple ideas that are not related to problems. It's just, future product development ideas maybe, and maybe we'll hit on some of those here in a bit. But I just can't. I hate to sound like a fanboy, or I don't hate to sound like a fanboy, because I am a fanboy. I'm a Jeff, tell him. Am I a fanboy?
He's a fanboy.
I am so sold on temperature control systems, and also my background in barbecue is primarily based around my use of Kamado grills, and specifically Kamado Joe. And the FireBoard gives me some abilities with my Kamado grill that I don't get with any other system that I've used. And one of those specific features, have you ever cooked on a Kamado grill, Ted?
Yeah, so I use, in fact, honestly, my go-to grill is a Primo grill.
Okay.
It's the Primo.
Same deal.
Yeah, Primo oval. I mean,
Okay.
it's I love that.
Okay, well then you're fully aware that Kamado grills are very low airflow devices. They're very efficient and they don't require a lot of airflow. And one of my favorite features of the FireBoard is my ability to go in there and set the output level on that fan. I keep, when I'm running my Kamado grills with the FireBoard, I have my fans, I'm using the newer model of the FireBoard blower. That thing's a beast, by the way. I love the construction and durability of that thing, and it's a 20 CFM fan, which is way too much for a Kamado grill.
Right.
That's not a complaint, but the FireBoard software gives me the ability to go in there and set the maximum output for that fan. So I keep my Kamado set at usually 20% of maximum, which is more than enough airflow for me to run my Kamado at about whatever temperature I want to run it at. And it keeps me, it doesn't make the Kamado like one of the things I like to try to tell people when I'm trying to make them go buy a FireBoard is this thing not only gives me the stability and the ease, the easy feeling. I can set that grill up and set it at 250 degrees and walk away from it for 12 hours and not have to worry about it. It also minimizes the time I spend bringing the Kamado up to temperature. Like if I know I want to cook at 350 degrees or 450 degrees or 250 degrees, I go out, I load my charcoal up, I put a fire starter in, I, I engage the FireBoard for whatever target temperature I want, and I set my top vent to an appropriate location, and I can walk away from that grill, and within a short period of time, that grill will be at my target temperature. I don't have to go back and forth, tweak vent settings, and play with it while it's coming up to temperature. I can let the control system do that work for me, and that functionality for me is worth as much as the stability it gives me over a long cook. I don't have to spend any amount of time tweaking the vents to get my grill where I want it, and that's one of my favorite aspects of using a temperature control system.
But
And
isn't it kind of cheating, John?
no, you can
No,
call it cheating. Okay, I want to talk about that too because in my world of Kamado owners, yeah, there's a lot of people out there that are going to say that's cheating. But first of all, I do tell everybody you do need to know how to do this manually because in the best case scenario, there will come a time when a piece of electronic equipment will fail or it won't work for whatever the reason, and you'll need to know how to do that or you won't be able to cook. So it is most important to learn how to do it manually. But once you have that manual control, this takes all the work and the thought out of it. And if you can call it cheating if you want to, but Jeff and I both are uh, the work smart guy instead of work hard guy. And
absolutely.
this tool gives me the ability to work smart after I already know how to work hard. Does that make sense?
And I like the ability that you have to set your program so you can run it at a certain speed up to a set temperature, and then you can increase the temperature and run it to your next set temperature. And that's a feature that I don't think very many controllers out there have, and that's nice.
Right.
Yeah, I like that feature too. And most programs are not incredibly complicated, but I think for me, I don't know what you guys think, but I think chicken is a good example. I'll cook chicken. Again, I'm not a barbecue expert, so, but I'll cook chicken. Let's say 250. I'll try to get a little bit of smoke for maybe
Mhm.
half an hour or 45 minutes, and then I'll go. I want to cook chicken pretty hot and fast, so maybe 350.
Right.
And so it ramps up to 350. It doesn't take very long. And then once it hits that target temperature, let's say chicken maybe 165 or something, right? So then it drops the temperature back down to sort of a holding point. But just the idea that you can like smoke something for a low temperature and automatically ramp to a high temperature to actually do your cook. That's a very simple program, but it's also extremely powerful, right?
Yep.
Like
Right.
I don't have to, I'm watching the Super Bowl, I forget about it, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh crap, I left the chicken on there for another hour and a half past I wanted to, right? So like here's something that you just set the program, it's easy and it's done.
Right.
I like Mason's
Cool.
comment. You can run it from church on Sunday. Yes, you
Yeah, you
can.
can run. Yeah, that's nice, and I think people love having the uh, the sense of the confident feeling that their grill is going to do what they want it to when they leave. That's one of the hurdles of and part of the learning curve of learning to cook on a Kamado grill is learning what your grill's personality is and how to make it behave the way you want it to behave over long periods of time. And like I said, everybody needs to learn how to do that. But toys like this, they take the work out of it for you. Uh, I know, Ted, you're on a time constraint. I don't want to hold you up long here, but there's two things that. Well, first of all, I guess before I say what I'd like, what some ideas that I like to see down the line, do you have thing anything new coming up that you can tell us about tonight?
Um, you know, as you guys know, it's always hard in the technology world to share a lot of secrets.
Yep.
um, and it's funny. That's a whole topic in of it. You could probably devote a dozen podcasts to intellectual property and technology and how that stuff works, right? But I think for us well, first of all, let me say this. I think we view ourselves as mainly a technology company. And because of that, I think we feel like we always need to innovate. We need to come up with new things. We need to try to keep that product pipeline going. And if we were just operating in the barbecue space, I guess selling our product where we are, we still would feel that pressure. But I think even more so, I feel like because we're in the technology space, we feel this pressure to continue to innovate, right? So we do
Right.
have, I think in 2022, I think we have some good products that we're planning on coming to market. Um, People there's no question wireless is here to stay. So I think continuing to try to think about ways to make things easy, make things simpler, make things that work over maybe a longer range rather than a shorter range. I think those are things we're focused on.
Right.
Um, I'll also say too, we've loved to be a part of the backyard barbecue experience, and there's no question all of our products will continue to be part of that experience. But we see people buying FireBoard from restaurants. We see people buying FireBoard from commercial kitchens, from food production facilities, from laboratories. So there's a growing part of this commercial channel, if you will, of our sales channel that I think we should really focus on. So there's some products I think that we're trying to figure out if there's a product that would work really well for people in the barbecue world, and it would work really well for people kind of on the commercial slash industrial side of the world too. So there's
Right.
there's there's two channels, and there are some products that might actually bridge both of those channels together. So those are things we're working on this year. Next year we're already thinking about 2023 and 2024, and trying to think about it. And of course, you guys are well aware of the supply chain crisis. So
Yes.
if we're going to build a product to launch in 2023, we have to literally today. This is crazy. Literally today, we have to be buying components today for products we're potentially going to sell in 2023. It's absolutely it's wild. So we're
Right.
trying to navigate that. We're trying to plan for that, and continuing to innovate and continuing to make products better is no question the theme. And if the main benefit is our customer base, right? We're gonna
Yep.
try to make things better for them.
And in my little world here in my man cave, if I could have two new things on a fireboard that would take me to the next level, here's what they are. And one of these is probably only going to apply to me because I'm old school. The first one is I would love to see a touchscreen device, the fireboard unit itself be touchscreen, which would give me the ability to change my cook parameters, change anything about my cook, my set temperatures, my target temperatures, alarms, anything else from the device itself without the use of a smart device to do that. I would love to have that functionality. There are some situations where I can see fireboards being used, not in my world, but in a lot of worlds where you might not have a Wi-Fi connection. And I do believe this is something I haven't experimented with, but I do believe you can connect to your fireboard via Bluetooth with your smartphone and do those controls. But I think a touch screen scenario would be awesome, and I would be the first kid on the block to buy that. And I would also love to see a wireless probe integrated into this, and the wireless probe should be robust enough to where I can do multiple tasks with it, which would include deep frying and other. I like to deep fry turkey. As much as I am into the smoking and grilling and whatnot, I love to throw a turkey in the deep fryer, and I'd love to be able to throw that wireless probe in there with it. But those are two things that I think would put this product at an untouchable level. Does that make sense to call it untouchable in the market?
Well, I think everybody I think everybody wants more capabilities, more simplicity, right? And so part of the wireless probe thing is like getting rid of these six foot cables that you have to like twist around and you have to like clean and all that stuff, right? I think nobody wants that. But the counter argument is we have to be able to make something that's robust
Right.
and make something that's not going to fail or flame out, in like 2 or 3 months. So I think I hear you. I totally agree with what you're saying. I think if we can make something that addresses some of those issues, and it works with the whole Fireboard system, and these are ideas we're thinking about, right? These are really good ideas. These are things we're playing with and thinking about, and obviously behind me, these are things we're not this necessarily, but there's multiple things that we're thinking about and we're testing day to day.
Right.
So I do appreciate honestly your input, John, and Jeff, both of you guys. If you want to shoot me whatever your ideas are, we're incorporating this stuff day to day. We have customers. There's actually a really nice gentleman from American Royal we've talked to for the last several years, and he emailed me today. He's like, "Hey, I love your system. You set me up with your system." One of our partners, American Royal, Jason and Megan Day at Burnt Finger Barbecue, one of the people that they interact with consistently, this guy has used Fireboard for years.
Mm-hmm.
And he emailed us today. He's like, "Hey, I would love to buy this new Fireboard Pro system." And he was asking me about the benefits, right? So there's people that are interfacing with us today about what Fireboard has evolved over 2016 to 2022 and to learn about those new features. And our goal is from 2022 to move forward to 2024, 25, 26, 27, and to continue that product pipeline and to make things better. Things are better than they were in 2014. And now to think about 2022, how to make them better to 2026 and 27. So that's really our goal. So, we have an open pipeline. It's info@fireboard.com. And then we have people here that are literally here in Kansas City that are answering the phones. And I would encourage anybody just to shoot us an email or give us a call and let us know what they think is, a good feature to implement.
And on that note, I would also like to say that for those of you who are listening, if any of you guys that are online with us tonight are considering this product, I've been, like I said, I've been using FireBoard since they released their initial product, and I have yet to have a failure of any of my equipment. Everything's worked flawlessly from the beginning. And when I've thought I've had an issue, I'll email their tech support, and they are very, very responsive. I get responses back very quickly on everything I send in, and I can't think of a single instance where they haven't had the solution to whatever I was looking for just right away. It's very quick, very uh, they're very responsive. Jeff, do you have anything to add
No,
here?
not really. I mean, you've covered it all. I can't say enough good things about Fireboard. I mean, it's been my go-to. Uh, I love it. It's, as I said, it follows the KISS principle, and it just works. And that's what I think us in the barbecue community love, is the fact
Right.
that you can go take it out of the box, follow the simple instructions, you're up and running in less than 5 minutes, and it just works.
And Ted, let me tell you, Gary over at Atlanta Grill Company, um, those guys are 100% behind this product as well. When I don't know if you followed any of the iCommand development from Kamado Joe, but uh, Gary told me flat out, I don't know, on a couple of different times, he says we need to be promoting Fireboard. Fireboard, just Fireboard was rolling off his lips every time I turned around. And when I asked, Gary carries, they carry the Flame Boss as well, and Gary's love for the Fireboard is that none of them ever come back. His customers,
Yep.
all of his customers are happy with the Fireboard. And at that point, when Gary told me that, I said, okay, I said, I'm going to get on board with this. At that point in my career, in my life in barbecue, the only thing I liked better about another product was its ability for me to control it from the device fully without the use of a smart device. That's why I brought that up. And like I said, I'm old school. Most people these days are not like that. Most people want to have one of these between them and whatever they're doing. And the Fireboard is great. That Fireboard app is fantastic, and I've got no complaints about it. So I don't want to hold you up. I know you got some time constraints. So uh, on that, I want to let you go, and I want, if you got any closing comments you'd like to leave us with, please feel free.
Yeah, thank you guys. Well, just the only thing that comes to mind super quick, John, I know I can't remember if you mentioned this or not, but the Spark, which is the newest thing we've kind of come out with, it has the sync mode.
Right,
And I think of sync mode, well, here's a Spark. I think of sync mode where it can sit right here on my desktop
right,
and it can monitor. So when you mention that comment about, you don't want to have to be tied to your phone,
right.
that's exactly what we were thinking about with sync mode. I To be honest with you, I hate looking at my cell phone all the time.
Right.
and but ironically, we create a Fireboard app that runs on your mobile phone, so we can't be
No,
we don't want to discourage people from using a mobile app, right?
no, and it's the best. It's the best in class. I've got no, like I said, I've got no
Absolutely.
complaints about the app. It's far superior to anybody else's app. Uh, the I like to call it the UX, the user experience. I have a programming background as well, and like I said, this is top notch. And I don't know what else to say about it. I can't uh, sing the praises enough of this product. And I tell everybody, this is the first accessory you need with whatever kind of smoker system you've got. So Ted, I thank you very much for sharing your time with us tonight. If you're ready, we're done with the discussion. Unless you have anything else you want to add, we're going to keep going here. Jeff and I have some things that we're going to talk about tonight, but I really do appreciate your time, and I'm looking forward to whatever you guys have got coming in the future because
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, Ted. I need to get that spark. I'm gonna have to talk to Gary and go ahead and get one of those ordered.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys. Your work is important. I mean, what you guys have done, John and Jeff, I mean, in terms of covering relevant topics, and covering technology is super important. So, I mean, I appreciate, and honestly, thank you for being able to let us come on here tonight. Thank you. Um, it's a fun deal, right? Everybody loves cooking, loves technology, and I'm happy to join up and have this quick discussion with you guys. So, I guess it's a late or mid Friday evening. So, I hope you guys have a great Friday night and great
Yep.
weekend.
Excellent, Ted. Thank
Same
you
to
very
you.
much. And when the next generation of product comes out, I'm going to invite you back to come talk about that.
Sounds great. I'll be here. Thank you, guys.
Awesome. Ted,
Okay.
thank you a lot. And you have a
Yeah.
good
Thank you,
weekend.
Ted.
You too. Thank you.
Okay, that was great. Ted was he had a few time constraints and he wanted to try to keep it to a half an hour. So I tried the best I could to do that. So if you guys have any specific questions about FireBoard, I would like to I should have copied this link out so I could show it to you tonight, but there is a FireBoard users group on Facebook that I'm a member of, and that's my go-to point when I have a question, comment, or anything else about FireBoard, because there's a lot of other people, and Ted is a member of that group as well. Ted, a lot of the responses I see come from Ted in that group. I believe it's just called the FireBoard Users Group on Facebook, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
Jeff,
that's it.
is that it? Okay.
Yeah,
So
FireBoard users group.
if you would like to interact with some other FireBoard users, or if you have a FireBoard and are looking for uh, resources, that's a good place to start. It really is a good place to start, and you'll find a lot of other FireBoard owners, and you'll see what kind of questions they're having, what kind of things they're doing, and see how FireBoard is doing a lot of other things. One of the things I didn't bring up with Ted while he was on here is FireBoard. If any of you here have the newer generation of Yoder pellet smokers, the FireBoard is the integrated controller on the Yoders. And it's also, I should look this up as well, it's also the integrated controller on somebody else's smoker now, and I don't remember which one it is. I'm drawing a blank on it, but it's I don't know, but it's really this thing's really sophisticated. So and Anthony says here this kind. Anthony, you can rewatch this. After this is over, you'll be able to replay it if you want to get back in and see it again. This is not a one-off thing. You can come back to the Man Cave Meals page. And Lone Star. Okay, Alan says, yeah, it's the Lone Star. Lone Star's got a FireBoard integrated controller as well. And man, Lone Star, those guys make some incredible product as well. I don't have any of it. I've seen a couple of these things firsthand, and several of my YouTube creator friends have some Lone Star grills, and they're really impressive. So Lone Star's pellet grill is running a FireBoard controller. So, down the road, maybe we'll have something like that. Jeff, what did you cook this week?
Well, let's see. We started off with Super Bowl and made a bunch of snacks. Made my bacon wraps and wrapped up weenies. And
yeah, you know what? You sent me the pictures. I asked you to send me the pictures.
Yes, I did.
And I did not prepare those pictures for viewing tonight because I wasn't sure where we were going to end up on time with Ted.
Hey, that's all right. That's why I'm wearing my red shirt tonight. The redheaded stepchild.
Okay. Yeah. Jeff
yeah.
I know you did wings. I saw the wings.
No, I did not do wings.
Oh, you didn't do what? You were gonna
Nope.
do wings.
Nope. Wings were not in the picture. I did the bacon, the bacon wrapped weenies, the Cheez Whits,
yeah,
and the pickled Cheez Its, and then pork tenderloins and beef tenderloin.
beef
And
tenderloin,
tomorrow
man.
night
You
I'm
know
kicking
what?
off a brisket.
Okay, guys, I guess I'm not going to bring a picture up. I know some of you who follow me a little more closely realize I had a tragedy here at the man cave last week or earlier this week. Last Saturday, before I went to work, I was throwing away some stuff in my freezer that needed to be thrown away. My objective was is I'm going to get everything out of my freezer that can be thrown away and toss it out because my freezer needed to be defrosted. My freezer is supposedly a frost-free freezer, but there's this rack shelf that slides out down in the very bottom of this thing, and it was iced up and I couldn't slide it out. So I need to defrost this freezer. So my game plan is I'm going to take everything out on one of these cold nights we've been having. I'm going to put it in one of my big. I've got a 65 quart Yeti. I was going to put everything I could get in that, set it outside overnight, and unplug my freezer and let it defrost. Okay, so Saturday afternoon before I went to work, I got a bunch of really old stuff that had been in my freezer for a long time that I know was no good. I tossed it in the trash. Okay, my freezer door has these shelves in it that are not closed up on the bottom. There's little gaps in there. And when I opened that door and got all my stuff out, when I closed it, something had slipped out of that gap on the bottom shelf and kept my freezer door from shutting. And I did not realize it until Monday afternoon. I go back in there Monday afternoon when I get up from my weird weekend work schedule. I say, okay, I'm going to unload that stuff into my Yeti. I brought the Yeti in and opened my basement storage room door where that freezer is, and my freezer door standing open. And my heart just sunk into my stomach. I said, oh, Lord. I reached around there and looked, and just about everything in my freezer is not even cool anymore. It's room temperature. And Jeff talking about a beef tenderloins, what made me think about this, I threw a whole beef tenderloin in the trash along with a whole bunch of other meat. I had two rather large prime rib roasts in there that got trashed. Uh, I had
Makes you want
osso,
to cry.
I had osso buco that I had bought from Patton's Meat Market and from a Porter Road in there. I had two packages of the Porter Road Texas short ribs. You know how great those little things are. I had two Porter Road Terrace Majors in there. I had two Porter Road Tri-Tips in there. And going through my mind, I added all this stuff up, and between the cooked meat and the uncooked meat in there, I put about $1,000 in the garbage can. But the good news is my freezer's defrosted. So if there's anything positive the freezer's defrosted. So I've started, and also I had just put three rather large pork butts in there that I had bought on sale for 99 cents a pound because my wife and I are going to do a cook in the very late spring or early summer, probably in the June timeframe. We are going to feed our local town employees a barbecue lunch in June. The fire department, the police department, the public works department, and the people that work in our town hall, which I sent an email to the town manager last week to find out how many people that is, and it's about 50 people, and we're going to feed them a pulled pork barbecue lunch. But I had bought some meat for that, which I threw three of them away. The fourth, I bought four, but the fourth one's in my refrigerator that was going to be used for something else. I'm going to cook it Monday night, but I lost everything. I had a total loss of my freezer. Uh, in the meantime, in order to solve this problem from ever being a problem again, I ordered a ThermoWorks freezer temperature monitor. It was a $20 device that's a little digital display, but it's got a 10-foot long probe on it where I can run it through the door jamb into the room where my freezer is and into the freezer and have it out here in my hallway here in the man cave where I can see it every day, and it's got an audible alarm on it that I can set, so I'll hear it if my freezer goes kaput again. And I'm not going to let this happen again. Jeff, have you ever had a freezer die on you?
Yes, I have. It's
Did
not
you
a pretty
lose?
smell.
Did you lose everything in it?
Absolutely. It's not a pretty
Well,
smell.
fortunately, I'm not having a smell issue because everything that was in my freezer was vacuum packed, whether it had been cooked or uncooked. So there was nothing leaking in there. So there's nothing smelling bad. So I don't have that problem. Everything's good there. So all right, I did a little bit of cooking this week, and I'm gonna show you guys a couple of pictures. The the video that I put up for Atlanta Grill Company. Yes, Anthony, it's ThermalWorks. If you'll go to ThermalWorks and look at their, I think there's a section there for refrigerator or freezer thermometers. You'll find the one I bought. It was $19 plus shipping, which was like $5. But I did two things this week. The video that I published yesterday for Atlanta Grill Company was uh, pastrami. I made some homemade pastrami. I went to Sam's Club early in the week and I bought a brisket and I bought this small segment of brisket flat. And please don't chastise me for this, but I paid $7.98 a pound for this little piece of brisket flat that weighed almost 3 pounds, and it weighed about 2.5 pounds after I trimmed it up. But I made a cure. I made a dry cure for this, which consists of pink salt, kosher salt, brown sugar, black pepper, ground coriander, and some ground mustard. I mixed all that up. And this is what the brisket looks like after I trimmed it. And it ends up weighing about 2.5 pounds at this point. I coated both sides of it with that entire batch of mixture. And guys, the video is up on Atlanta Grill Company's Facebook page and YouTube channel. But this particular mixture is made for 2.5 pounds of meat. And the critical part of that is the pink curing salt. You want to use 1 teaspoon of that per 5 pounds of meat when you're making a dry cure. But if you're going to use more or less meat, you need to scale my recipe up or down. But I put it in a vacuum seal bag, and this needs to dry cure for 4 to 5 days. So I just tossed that in the refrigerator and let it ride. I got it out of the refrigerator 4 days later, or 5 days later, actually, and I rinsed it off. And then I put it in an ice water bath for about 4 hours to kind of desalinate it a little bit. That particular dry cure will make it a little too salty if you don't do this step, because that's a quick cure. If I had done an equilibrium cure, we would have cured it a little bit longer and wouldn't have had to do this step. But 4 to 8 hours in this ice water bath, and we're good to go. So after that, I wanted to make a rub to use for the smoking process. And what I did here is I took a 1/4 cup of black peppercorns, of whole coriander, and I think I used 2 tablespoons of granulated garlic. And I got my mortar and pestle out so I could do a rough, coarse cracking of this black pepper and ground coriander. And I tossed that in a little mixing bowl, mixed it up, and then I took our brisket flat piece and put all of that on both sides of it. And then I tossed it on the bark and I put it in at 250 degrees. And for this guy, since we're not making barbecue beef brisket, this is ultimately going to be sliced. So you want to not let this go much beyond 195 degrees internally. So that's what we did. I put it on the bark, and here's what we looked like about the time it was done. So I pulled it off at that point, wrap it in foil, and I let it rest on the countertop for about an hour like this. And then I tossed it in the refrigerator overnight. And the next morning, I sliced this guy up, and I have some amazing pastrami. Let me let me qualify the amazing pastrami by bringing Tanya online. Tanya, was this any good?
It was delicious. Yes.
Tanya likes cured beef, so the pastrami was definitely good. The only thing that bothers me right now is with me being on a keto diet, I can't make a Reuben out of this with some really good rye bread. But Tanya has tossed an idea my way that we're going to try.
Yeah.
Tanya says, why can't we do a deconstructed Reuben, kind of like we've done our deconstructed deep dish pizza without the crust? Jeff, is sauerkraut keto friendly?
I would think it would be. I don't,
I
because it
won't.
doesn't have sugar in it. I would think. I'll
Well,
look it up.
I think I'm probably gonna take some of this and slice it up and put some sauerkraut on it and some Gruyere, and I'm gonna get some Thousand Island dressing and spice it up a little bit, maybe with a little sriracha or a little Valentina or something to give it a little extra kick and make something interesting out of that. What do you think?
It's low. It's keto friendly. It's very low in carbs.
Yeah, man.
So
Sauerkraut. Did I tell you about the time I tried to make sauerkraut from scratch?
wasn't it a pretty picture?
It was not. I'm gonna have to try. I'm gonna have to try it again. Ed
Well,
says
John,
authentic
I
sauerkraut.
got a thing for your bread. If you got the little small waffle makers, if you
Uh-huh.
take egg, beat it up, and put in mozzarella cheese, and put that in your waffle maker, it makes a beautiful bun.
Okay, well maybe I'll play with that. I haven't experimented with stuff like that yet, but
And that's
we'll
very
see.
keto friendly. I mean,
We'll see how it goes. So let me uh let me bring some pictures back up here and move on. Oh, I did a little meal prep this week as well. Once again, restocking my freezer and some of the stuff I lost. I like to keep cooked chicken on hand. Tanya doesn't eat chicken, but I eat chicken, and I bought 2 packs of chicken breasts that had 4 pretty large chicken breasts on them both. And I figured this is a good chance for me to fire up the Aaron Franklin PK grill. So I seasoned these guys up pretty nicely with the Atlanta Grill Company Big Chicken Rub here. And I fired up the Aaron Franklin. And I cooked all these chicken breasts mostly over direct heat to get a nice char on them. And I love this grill, by the way. We're gonna do a video in the next few weeks on this. I'm gonna go ahead and cook a bun on this grill and do that. But
yeah, there
I
you go,
got, I got
chaffles.
yeah, I got a nice chaffles. Okay, I need to remember that. Tanya, make a mental note of that for me so I can look that up. But
Okay.
these chicken breasts that you see in this picture here in my world are perfect. They've got
Okay, John, I want to ask you a question.
okay.
In your post, you said that you pounded them out.
I did.
Why do you pound yours instead of butterfly them?
Well, you could butterfly them and get the same result, uh, but then I'd have to get a knife out, and it's quicker for me to pound these out. I've got a meat mallet, one of these. I think it's
Mhm,
cast aluminum or something. It's flat on one side of the hammer, and it's got spikes on the other.
mhm,
What I do is I just put these things. I don't put them in a Ziploc bag when I'm doing a bunch of them. I just get a Ziploc bag and set it on top of it on my cutting board, and I pound them out. But the reason I pound them out is the same reason you would butterfly it, because then it gives them an even thickness all the way across where they cook
mhm,
evenly. Because a whole chicken breast, unpounded or unbutterflied, as you know, is thin on both ends and thick in the middle. And this allows me to cook this fairly evenly without overcooking the ends, where I've got a even cook. And I cook my chicken breast to an internal temperature of 150. I don't take them all the way up to 165. But these guys are what I consider to be perfect because I've got some char, I've got the flavor of this big chicken rub, which has got that's going to be a rub of the month probably next month. So keep your eyes open for that. It's got a lot of beautiful herbs and spices in it. And then what I do is I just dice this stuff up and I vacuum seal this in 4-ounce increments. I weigh it out, put it in my small vacuum seal bags because I do it in 4 ounces. Because if I want to add grilled chicken breast to a salad, I want to put 4 ounces of it in there. If I'm going to make a meal, a one dish meal for myself out of grilled chicken, I like to do 8 ounces. And I just get 2 packets of it out. And I'll warm it up in a sous vide bath at 145 or 150. And when it's warm, I'll take it out, dump it in a bowl, and I'll add a sauce to it or whatever I might want to do to it. But that's kind of a meal prep thing that I like to do. And that's one of the things I did this week. And that's a quick cook. While I was at Sam's Club earlier in the week, I also bought a full packer brisket. And this, you guys are going to get a sneak peek here at next week's cooking video, because since this month's rub of the month with Atlanta Grill Company is the Himalayan Sherpa, I said this, guys, is going to be a perfect time to do a brisket. I've been putting this off because, as you guys, any of you who like brisket know, brisket prices are through the roof right now. Jeff, am I right?
Oh, through the roof. Mine today was $80.
Jeff bought one today, and I bought this one. My favorite briskets are in the 12 to 14 pound range. For the full packers, I like the mid-size briskets, and this one was just under 14 pounds. Untrimmed is what you see here. So I trimmed this guy up, and I trimmed all the silver skin off the top side and got me a 1/4 of an inch or so fat cap on the bottom. And I took my fat trimmings and put them in my small Le Creuset Dutch oven and set them aside. And then I seasoned this guy liberally with the Atlanta Grill Company Himalayan Sherpa. This, guys, if you haven't used Himalayan Sherpa, this is a fantastic salt, pepper, garlic blend. I don't know what the ratios are, but whatever they are, they're right. This is a go-to seasoning here at the Man Cave for beef. And after this cook, I may not look back. I may make this my only beef seasoning because the results came out amazing. So I tossed this guy on the bark. I wanted to do 2 things with this cook. Not only did I want to test how well the Himalayan Sherpa worked for seasoning a brisket. One of the things people complain about pellet grills is that they don't produce enough of a smoke flavor. And there's got to be a way around that. So one of the things I wanted to try is one of the things I know, since this is my 5th pellet grill, is that pellet grills produce more smoke at a lower temperature. So I fired up the Myron Mix and Bark 2400 at 200 degrees. And I put this brisket on at 8 p.m. and I let it ride. So I also tossed that little small Dutch oven with that fat on there with it. And I put the lid on it, but I left the lid cracked. So here we are 12 hours later at 200 degrees. My brisket's looking good. The bark's not fully set up the way I want it to, so I wanted to let it keep on cooking. But here we go here. In our little Dutch oven where I put all that fat, a bunch of that fat has rendered off and it's collected some smoke. So my objective here is to make some smoked beef tallow during this process. So I just let that go. And here we are at the 16-hour mark. My bark's looking pretty good. It's not looking exactly where I want it, so we're going to let it keep going. And actually, I forgot to take a picture here at the 18-hour mark. At the 18-hour mark, I pulled the brisket off. My bark was where I wanted it to be. I wrapped it in foil, put my temperature probe back in it, ramped the grill up to 275. And I took it off after it got probe tender where I wanted it. And I wrapped it in foil, or I left it wrapped in foil. I put it in my cooler, rested it for 2 or 2.5 hours. And here we are. at that point. And guys, this
Next
is what
is
we
the
ended
money
up
shot.
This is what we ended up with. If anybody tells you you can't get a smoke ring on a pellet grill, they're just flat out lying to you. Because you look at that's about as good a smoke ring as you'd ever get. And here's a second shot, kind of from the other direction. Uh, at this point, this one's a little different because the juices that had collected in my foil for this shot, I drizzled those back over the top of this brisket because I like to have some of that in there because most of my brisket is going to get vacuum sealed and packaged, and I want some of that in there for when it reheats. So this brisket, I was telling Jeff yesterday when I got done with this brisket, I was telling Jeff that this might very well be one of the best brisket results I've ever had.
Makes you want to drool.
All right, 2 comments on this brisket result. First of all, I would not have ever guessed that this brisket, by taste and flavor and aroma, had been cooked on pellet grill. I had plenty of smoke. Cooking this guy got 18 hours in my pellet smoker at 200 degrees. It had plenty of smoke flavor. It had as much smoke flavor as I could have asked for in any circumstance. The flavor I got from that salt, pepper, garlic blend is making me really reconsider whether or not I'm ever going to season beef with anything else other than that Himalayan Sherpa blend ever again. Jeff, you've used Himalayan Sherpa extensively. What do you think about it?
It's absolutely great. I mean, it's my go-to. Every now and then I'll use a little bit of AP Beef Mojo, but for the most part, anything beef, like my ribs, my beef ribs and whatnot, it's
Yeah.
Himalayan Sherpa all the way.
Anthony's got a question there I want to answer, and I'm actually prepared to answer that. So hang on just a second here. I've got a picture here somewhere. I took a picture of my pellet hopper. Here we go. Okay, I did not weigh these pellets. This pellet hopper was completely full up to the very top edge when I started that cook. This cook went 19 and a half hours, 18 hours at 200 degrees Fahrenheit. In the final 90 minutes in the wrap, I ramped up to 275. And my estimate here, if this is a 20-pound pellet hopper, my estimate is that I used probably 14, 15 pounds tops of pellets in a 19 and a half hour cook on that system. This mixing system is really efficient with pellets. Jeff, talk about a pellet efficiency here with me. You've got the same smoker I do.
Yep. It sips pellets. I mean, I suppose you can buy some cheap pellets out there and it may go, through them, but basically I've used B&B on it. I've used the big 40-pound bag that you can get at Sam's. I don't remember the brand of it. And I've used the Myron Mixon. And I think the Mixon pellets have gone a little longer than the others, maybe. But I mean, it sips pellets. I mean, it's
Well, the bark is double wall insulated. The whole cooking chamber is double wall insulated. And also keep in mind, Jeff and I have the mid-size. We have the 2400. There's a smaller one, the 1700, and then there's the larger one, the 3600. The 3600 is not going to be quite as efficient because it's a lot larger cooking chamber, but the 1700 is going to be even more efficient. And the 1700 still has a sick amount of cooking space.
Yep.
It's crazy, guys. How much?
And the nice thing about the bark is, as John was saying, regardless of the size that you get, the 1700, 2400, or 3600, the pellet hopper and the control is the exact same on each of them.
Right.
That
It's
so
the same software, the same controller, the same auger system. The only difference is the auger's longer or shorter,
Right.
and the cooking chamber's larger or smaller. Jeff, like I said, Jeff and I both have the mid-size. I personally, after having stood in front of each of these, I really like the mid-size, that 2400. Now,
I think that's the sweet spot. It really
yeah,
is.
the only thing I see about the 3600 that I like is well, I don't know. I think you could do the 2400 is big enough to do a suckling pig, and that's something
Yep.
I want to do. I'm going to see if I can make that happen at some point. I am working, guys, on getting somebody on here one Friday night with me that's got experience cooking whole hog. I posted a message in the Myron Mixon Smokers group, and I haven't found anybody yet that's going to volunteer to come on here with me and talk about whole hog cooking one night. So maybe we're going to get David Mixon on here one night, right, Jeff? We're going to
David or Michael, either one would do real good with that.
I think what I want to do though is I want to get somebody on here, and if any of you guys that are listening to me here tonight have experience cooking whole hog, help me out. I'm looking for somebody that I can bring on here who's got experience cooking whole hog and has got some photographs that they've made through their process that we can share on here and talk about doing that. I want to do it, but I'm not going to do it cold. I'm going to have some guidance somewhere. It's out of my league. It's something I've never done, but it's something I want to do. And I think
It's a fun cook, John, particularly the thawing. Thaw it in the bathtub for a week.
But I want to do it. I want to get it going. And I'm looking for somebody that'll come on with me one Friday night to talk about that. So if you can do that, or you know anybody that can, let me know, and we'll get in touch with them, and we'll see what's going on. Anthony, pellet grills. I think pellet grills are highly underrated. And
Yep.
after, let me tell you, I am fully supportive of the idea that a pellet grill does produce a lighter and cleaner smoke profile than most other systems. But like I said, this cook that I did this week on this brisket has changed my mind about what a pellet grill is capable of. You just need to modify your cooking procedure to bring the most out of it. And this brisket that I just showed you guys is as good or better than any brisket that I've ever cooked on a Kamado. I've cooked briskets on a Weber kettle. I've cooked briskets on a Weber Smoky Mountain. I've cooked Randy, I've cooked briskets on an ugly drum smoker. I've had several ugly drum smokers in my past. I've cooked briskets on those, and this pellet grill brisket that I just cooked will keep up with any of those. What I haven't done is when I had my offset cooker, I did not do a brisket on it, and I'm kind of regretting that now. I did do it. Well, I did do a brisket on my what's this thing called? Oh boy, I'm drawing a blank on the name though. The stainless steel. I'll figure it out. I feel bad now. The name of it's escaping me here at the moment, but it's an automated, kind of an automated offset cooker. But anyway, this pellet smoker is keeping up with everything I've ever cooked brisket on. And once again, one of the things I tell people all along, whether you have a pellet smoker, a kettle, a Kamado, or whatever, the trick to getting what you want out of it's learning how to use it. And
absolutely,
it just took me a little longer maybe than the next guy to figure out that I need to slow things down on a pellet grill, because the pellet grills do produce more smoke at a lower temperature than they do at the higher temperatures.
Yeah, absolutely, John, because if you're cooking on that pellet smoker and you're running like 400, 450, you're getting very little smoke flavor, and it's almost a clean burn.
You got to slow things down, and doing that solve that problem. I've got to do the butt that I've got that I'm gonna. Tanya has asked me to cook a pork butt so she can give it to some of the people she works with. So I'm going to do that on the pork butt. I'm going to cook the pork butt for 12 hours at 200 degrees and then ramp it up to finish it off and see what we end up with there. And if it's amazing, I may not give it to Tanya.
Uh,
I may keep
John,
it.
that last pork butt that I did, I cooked it for 12 hours, and let me tell you what,
Yeah,
it was off the hook. I mean, the smoke ring was there, the flavor was there. I got a good smoke profile, really deep into the meat. It was good.
right. But man, these I love like I said, this Myron Mixon Bark's not my first pellet grill. It's my fifth pellet grill. I've got two of them here at the house now, between this one and the Kamado Joe Pellet Joe. But the Pellet Joe, once again, is a
No,
different beast. It's not a comparable grill to this. So I don't know where we're going from here.
yeah, Anthony, pork bombs would absolutely work out perfect with that bark. I mean, you can
Yeah.
get that thing down to that low temperature. You don't have to worry about, some people worry about melting that saran wrap. You're
Well,
not going to
that's
get
another
that
good
on the
one.
bark.
I need to do the video. I have not. I've learned. I've done pork bombs, and I've learned how to do them directly from hands on with Chef Eric. And this is Chef Eric's thing. Chef Eric Gephardt. And we're gonna get. I'm gonna get Eric back on here sometime soon. Also, I haven't talked to him in the last month or so, but we'll get him on here. And
Yeah,
I
pork
might.
bombs on that thing will be off the hook.
We'll talk about the pork bombs, but everybody's afraid of the concept of wrapping those things in plastic wrap. But with the bark, I can take the temperature down, and even if you can't control your temperature as precisely as you can with the bark, what you do is you still wrap those pork bombs up very tightly in plastic wrap, and then you do something like put them in an aluminum foil pan, cover that pan with foil, and put a quart of water in the pan with those pork bombs, and then the pork bombs, that plastic will never reach a temperature where it's going to melt, so you don't have to worry about that. But I need to do pork bombs, and I want to do pork bombs the way Eric did them in his restaurant. That I've not seen him do this online. Eric, he talked about, he would season them, put them in the smoke, get them good and smoky, wrap them up, and finish them to where they're just fall apart tender. But if I remember correctly, in Eric's restaurant when he did these, the finishing step that I've not seen him do online before is he would put those things on a hot griddle and sear them. He would sear one side, flip it, sear the other side, and then serve that, where you get a little bit of char from that from the griddle contact. So that's something I might play with. I know we're running long, but we're at an hour and 18 minutes here, so we're going to wrap up. Uh, so Betty Wicker says she's got my sister, ex brother-in-law here, cooks whole hogs with a smoker. So does he take pictures as he's going? And is he somebody that'd like to come online with me one Friday night to talk about it? I'm looking for somebody that we'll figure this out. We'll get somebody uh, and figure this out. Pork bombs. Yep, pork bombs will happen. So we're wrapping up the February rub of the month. I did the Georgia butts and ribs in January and did a lot with that. I've done a good bit here in February with the Himalayan Sherpa. So what I want to do for March is figure out what the third rub in the Atlanta Grill Company series is going to be. I'm trying to get the first 3 to 5 that I think are the most important rubs in the set done first, and I've started with the 2 that I think are the most important in the set, with the Georgia butts and ribs and the Himalayan Sherpa. The big chicken that I showed you here is probably going to be the next. It's either going to be the big chicken in March, or it's going to be the River Street Seaboard, because
River Street.
okay. Since Jeff said it, we're going to do River Street Seaboard in March, and I'm going to do some seafood stuff in March, highlighting that seasoning blend, because it's not only an amazing seasoning blend on seafood, it's an amazing seasoning blend to go on veggies also.
Yes.
I've used it on green beans and broccoli and Brussels sprouts. And
Off the hook.
Yeah, it's really good. There's all these rub seasonings. Yes, yes, Russ. It was the Carubicue. That's the name of my. I want to call it an offset smoker, but it's not like any other offset smoker I've ever used. But I'm sitting here looking at it. It's sitting in my inside the man cave right now because I don't have room for it outside. So, uh, it's the Carubicue. That thing's a beast, and I did a brisket in that, and even comparing my pellet grill with the Carubicue, which is an offset smoker, I don't know that it would be any better. So I don't fully understand yet if my love of this week's brisket comes from the technique I used on the pellet smoker or the seasoning I used on the brisket or the combination of the two. I think it's probably a combination of the two.
I would say the
It was off the
combination.
hook. I do believe that Himalayan Sherpa is going to become my go-to seasoning for beef all the way down the line. After doing this, I can't really see any reason why I would want to use anything else on beef.
John, you saw where our bark group went over 400 members this week.
Yes. For those of you who are interested in the bark, whether you have one or not, or whether you're thinking about it, you can pay. If you're interested in what Jeff and I and another group of a large group of people are doing with the bark, we have a Myron Mixon bark smokers group on Facebook as well that you feel free to hook up with us over there. So we're going to wrap up. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me tonight. Next week, I tentatively have another guest on schedule to where we're going to talk about bourbon. I need to hook up with him and make sure that he's still on for this coming week. If not, it won't be long. Brian Miller's asking about the AGC home team sauce. Jeff, do you know what this is?
I have not heard of that one yet.
It looks similar to Lane's one-legged. I haven't seen the home team sauce. Is that an Atlanta Grill Company product? Are you sure that's AGC? I've got a box of the AGC's only got 4 or 5 sauces that I'm aware of at the moment. They've got the sweet sauce, the sweet and spicy sauce, the white sauce, the Carolina sauce, and the vinegar sauce. Is there another one, Jeff, I'm unaware of?
That's what I'm looking at right now.
Have they got something Gary's forgot to tell me about?
I'm looking at all their sauces, and I do not see a home team sauce.
It might be something they sell at Atlanta Grill Company, but it might not be at the Atlanta Grill Company house brand. I'm not familiar with that particular sauce, Brian.
Right.
Okay, he says it has a white label. Is it one of their aiolis or one of their? I'm not familiar with it. I don't know if I've seen this one called Home Team.
It's not on their website, so next time I'm up there, I'll have to take a look at that. Oh wait,
Brian,
I just found it's a home team wing sauce.
Is an AGC product?
Yep, Atlanta Grill Company home team wing sauce. So it's for wings.
Okay. Yes. Okay, I have that. That's in that box I just got because I asked about that last time. I didn't realize it was called Home Team. Yes. Brian, I have a bottle of that, and that's gonna be a sauce of the month also. We're gonna do some wings with that. I forgot about that one. But I didn't realize it was called Home Team. So now I know. I've got one bottle of each of those 6 sauces now that I think about it. I haven't opened the box yet. All right, guys, we got to wrap up. We've gone long again. Jeff, I appreciate you hanging out with me. Tanya, I appreciate you running the show up there. So, guys, until next week, y'all have a good one.
Bye.